Hello everyone, this is my ELA final, so let's get into it. So the topic I chose is climate change. So climate change explained, a clear look at Earth's most pressing issue. So first off, why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because it's something that isn't talked about much today. The reason being that many people believe that the topic isn't something that would be a major issue. Of course, it is a flawed ideology because of the countless studies and statistics which prove climate change could potentially endanger humanity if we let it be. What drew me to this topic was the fact that it's something which isn't spoken about often. Also, it connects to my future goals to raise awareness on this topic and promote overall environmental health and prosperity. So, background information. The climate on this earth has been through natural changes forever, but the rates at which changes are taking place recently are not natural. Based on the report provided by the IPCC, the world has witnessed an average of more than 1.1 degrees Celsius of elevation in temperatures since the pre-industrial era, and this is mainly because of human activity. These warmings have given rise to extreme weather-related phenomena, increase in sea level, loss of biodiversity, and food and water disruptions. These implications are long-term. Small island countries cope with possible drowning. Major cities such as Miami and New York are dealing with bigger hurricanes and sustained flooding. Areas such as sub-Saharan Africa are being ravaged by droughts, which are forcing deprived communities into poverty. Unattended, the problem of climate change will displace hundreds of millions of people, destabilize common health, and cause resource strain to a globalized world. So my argumentative essay was about the dangers of climate change and how people have turned a blind eye to it. It also expanded on why we should take action against this environmental crisis and turn it into something of use. My thesis in this essay was climate change is dangerous to our society because it causes rising sea levels, draws populated cities along the shore, poisons our air, rises global temperature, and disrupts ecosystems. The key points that I mentioned were how climate change affects our coastal populated areas, how it increases water level across the globe, and how it pollutes and changes our air and skyrockets global surface temperature. So this is my source research. The first source that I have was just about sea levels and how they significantly jumped since the 19th century. The second one was about the dangers of coastal areas along the shoreline. It tells us what cities in the US will be affected by flooding and the possible natural disasters that could happen. The third source highlights how global temperature has increased for decades and tracks the latest trends in data for temperatures over the year. The fourth source highlights graphs and data sets of the measurements of sea level since 1995 and shows how fast the water level is growing. And finally, the last source is about how polluted air can negatively impact us not only outdoors but also indoors. So what is the problem? No more is it a remote future event modeled by scientists, but an emergency in front of our eyes, which is striking communities, economies, and ecosystems around the world. In California and Australia, the wildfires are out of control. Greenland and Antarctica ice sheets are melting at appalling speeds. The trend of heat waves and record-breaking temperature every year, as well as devastating floods that displace millions, is a trend that has alarmed me the most. This is not by chance. These are all related issues of a quickly heating planet fueled by man. Uninhibited climate change Uninhibited climate change can break and ruin all spheres of life as we have known previously. So what are some solutions? So addressing the climate crisis requires a comprehensive and coordinated approach that targets the root causes of global warming while promoting long-term sustainability. One of the most effective strategies is transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. By investing in clean energy infrastructure and offering incentives for green technology, governments and businesses can drastically reduce carbon emissions. In addition to energy reform, protecting and restoring natural ecosystems is critical. Forests play a big role in absorbing carbon dioxide, so reforestation and conservation efforts are essential in offsetting emissions. Agriculture must also evolve to become more sustainable, adopting practices that reduce methane emissions, limit deforestation, and promote soil health can make a significant impact. Equally important is the implementation of strong climate policies such as carbon pricing, emissions regulations, and stricter environmental standards that hold polluters accountable and promote responsible innovation. the costs and benefits. So if we're being realistic, it's obvious that switching to more environmental friendly methods would cost more than using unethical methods. Despite this, it's worth it because in return we'd make more than what we had spent. Not only that, there are several benefits. By taking action to disrupt climate change, we see the improvement in our air quality, making more places habitable. Not only that, we see a decrease of the risk of natural disasters like tornadoes, floods, cyclones, and typhoons. So these are the works cited for all three of my essays, these two slides. I use all of these in either my first essay, my second essay, or my third essay. And that is basically my final. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from this. And yeah.